with all the stuff that's going on with the Warriors this year, this is another one of those where you're like, this is just not their year, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, and I don't know that. I don't know that because I'll keep saying the same thing. Like, it's still on the table that everything just comes together next month. Everybody's just happy and healthy and back, and here we go. GP2 gets to be back on the team. Andrew's through his personal situation. Steph's done with his injury. Clay's ready to play. You go into the playoffs. There's no back-to-backs.
They're a game out of the 6.
They're a game out of the 6.
I mean, so when you think about it, like all the things that have gone wrong from Andrew's season, Steph's injury, the James Wiseman conundrum, and all the rest of it, Mark, you're right. I mean, maybe if they can go 3-3, they go 4-4 in their next 8. Andrew figures it out, what he needs to figure out off the court. Steph gets back, and you're 33-33. Then maybe 7 games later, you get GP2 back, and you're the 9 seed. You can make a late push and still make the playoffs.
They're also a game out of the 11 seed.
That's awkward.
Which is not in the playoffs. Which, by the way, goes to a statement that Adam Silver made at All-Star Weekend, that this is the most competitive season in the history of the NBA. How did that one grab you?
It's an interesting way to describe it, because if you look at the standings and you see Sacramento all the way down to the Lakers, that is 11 teams separated by 6 games in the Western Conference. So yes, they're very competitive in that a lot of these teams are largely the same. But I look at the product itself.
Yep.
There's not much competitive about an average NBA game. What it is player with the basketball is going to score, and it's just a question of, will he get fouled? Will it be a three-pointer? Will it be an and one or a dunk? But the offensive player is going to score. So I don't see a lot of competition in the actual game itself.
The Eastern Conference is different. Look, Boston and Milwaukee obviously have the 2 best records in the NBA. So let's put them aside. But even after that, I think we undersell how far over 500 Philly is and Cleveland is. And even with what they've been through, it doesn't matter now because it gave all the good players away. But Brooklyn is 10 games over 500. The Knicks at the 6th seed are 6 games over 500. Let's use something like that as kind of a marker, 6 to 7 games over 500. The Western Conference has 2 teams that are north of that. That's it, just Denver and Memphis. Then you get to the Kings in the 3 seed. They're 7 games over 500. And then it's just, it heads into this mishmash, like you said, from the Kings to the Lakers is 6 games. That's it. That separates the 3 seed from the 13 seed.
Don't sleep on the 13 seed.
Well, here's the problem with it. The problem is they're all somewhere in range of 500.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kings, that's 7 games over, but that's not crushing it. It's good.
The Clippers are 5 above. The Lakers are 5 below, to your point.
So, this is so competitive. Or is it just so average?
Right.
It's so average for multiple reasons. A, maybe there just aren't any great teams. But B, it feels like teams are not trying to be that far over 500.
Yes.
Because they know that it's all just right there for the final 2 weeks, and let's just wait till then and then push on the gas as hard as we can.
And that's where this play-in tournament, I think, has robbed the NBA, at least in this year, of what Adam Silver is looking for in terms of the competitiveness. Because if you are the Thunder right now, or the Jazz are the 11 seed, the Blazers are tied for the 11, the Lakers are the 13, whatever, you realize that now, 20 games to go or so, is when you can make a push and still get into the play-in tournament. And if you get into the play-in, then you can make it to the playoffs. And on from there, maybe you can win a championship. So this may have... I think what they wanted to do was to ward off tanking, straight-up tanking. Well, you still have, 4 teams who were openly tanking for Wembanyama, and they're going to tank no matter what.
Did you see Fertitta at Mardi Gras?
No.
The owner of the Rockets. He clearly had drinks.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Right. I mean, it was Mardi Gras. I'm not against you. Have a drink. But he's got flowers on his head and all, some Houston reporter catches up with him and kind of asks about the season, and he took a shot at his own team for their inability to play good basketball, and then openly was just like, so pray for Victor. Am I right? Just pray for Victor. And the reporter's like, okay, back to you guys in the studio. And it didn't offend me because we all know what these teams are doing, and why would you do anything different? But at the same time, like literally before you even get to the All-Star break, to have owners drunk at Mardi Gras screaming about players that you'd like to draft.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Adam Silver liked it. I don't think we care, but I bet Adam Silver didn't love it.
Of course, I'm sure he hated it because, you want a competitive product night in and night out, but you don't have that. And now you have a situation where with this play-in tournament, Oklahoma City is 28-29. And even if there were no play-in tournament, they would only be a game out of the 8th seed.
Right.
So they still would, if they wanted to, could be competing for a playoff spot, or they could be going into tank mode to try to get into the lottery for Victor Wembanyama. I think the biggest problem with the product, Adam Silver is wrong in terms of the competitiveness. Most of these games are very disposable. So-and-so had 54 points. Yawn. It used to be special. Now these games are just up and down pickup games.
I mean, 54 points from an individual, and you might lose.
Right?
I think Steph had one of those this year. They got cooked. They had 50 points, and they got whacked.